Your hubby is working hard, and it's up to us as wives to make sure they feel valued. There's definitely specific things that we can do as wives to make sure that that happens. So if you want to know these 10 ways to make sure your husband feels valued, keep watching, hit that like button, and be sure to stay all the way to the very end because the 10th way is definitely the most important. So, the first thing that you can do to make your husband feel valued is actually really simple, and that's to greet him at the door when he comes home. And it is really simple. It does take a second to think about and make sure that you're at the door when he's walking through, but it definitely makes such a huge impact. And like with anyone, like I remember being younger and my mom felt so special because as kids, we'd all go up to the door and greet her. So I think there's something to be said that yes, like take that time away from whatever activity you're doing and making sure that you're there at the door for when he walks in, and he will definitely feel prioritized and special. So the second thing I want to talk about is not to overbook your schedule. And I don't know about you, but for me as a homemaker, it's so easy to be like, okay, Monday we have this, and Tuesday we're going to do this, and Wednesday we're going to have this couple down, and then this day we're going to, and it just keeps on continuing. And at the end of the day, that's great for us as homemakers because a lot of times we don't get out of the house. It's easy to just, keep focusing on the tasks that need to be done in the house. So having that chance to get out is great, but for your husband, it's probably the opposite because he is outside of the house. So for him, he's working all day at his job. So when he comes home, he might just want to relax or have the time to do something like a video game or whatever. So make sure that you, as a wife, don't overcrowd the schedule. So then that way that gives him a chance to do what he wants to do. The third way you can really value your husband is to pray for him. And if you're not already doing this, then do it. Like you need to make this a priority because it is such a critical thing in a relationship. So pray for him, pray for his struggles, pray for his uphill battles because we all have them. We all have those things in life that just like tear us down. So pray for him and do it first thing in the morning too, so you don't forget. Now, up for the fourth way to make your husband feel valued. This one's my favorite, and that is learning how to cook good food. And let me just say, there's a reason why they say, or there's sayings that say something along the lines of the way to a man's heart is through his stomach. And to prove this thought, drop it in the comments. Does your husband appreciate good food or does he look forward to dinner? I know my husband definitely does, and it makes me happy knowing that I can make good food and provide for him in that way that he gets excited. Like he looks forward to it at the, end of the work day or whatever. He's like, oh, can't wait for a chicken sandwich for dinner or whatever it may be. Like even if he doesn't know what I'm making, just having him really appreciate the food that I put on the table means so much to me and to him. And I definitely feel like making good food is definitely something that will make him feel valued above and beyond. The fifth way to make your husband feel valued is to learn his love language. And I talk about this a little bit as a homemaker in the guide that I have on how to prioritize as a homemaker. But essentially, knowing your love language, knowing his love language, and how he likes to give and how he likes to receive is so critical in knowing how to make him feel valued as a husband. And I say that because there's different languages that might take priority over the others. So like, for example, if his love language is quality time, well, then take that time and spend it with him. Or if his love language is receiving gifts, then get him different gifts here and there. Those little changes will make such a huge impact, and he will feel super loved and valued as a husband because you're going out of your way to make sure that he is getting his needs met. Okay, so the sixth way is it varies depending on your situation, and that is to challenge him to be the best version of himself. And I say it varies because it really depends on your husband and how emotionally mature he is. Like if he cannot take constructive criticism well, then I would say just skip this one because it's not going to do you or him any favors. So like for example, if he decides to set himself a goal. Like, we'll say he wants to be healthier or eat healthier. And so, okay, like day one, he eats super healthy. Day two, he eats super healthy. And then day three comes around and you see him going into the cabinet to, grab some chips. Well, that's when you have to challenge him. That's when you have to call him out, be like, what are you doing? And it's uncomfortable and it stinks. And it would be easy just to let him default on eating healthy. But to make him feel valued, you need to show that you're willing to be the bad guy every now and again and help him achieve his goals. And again, that might mean that you might feel like the bad guy, but at the end of the day, you're doing it because you love him and because you want to value him and put those hard, goals ahead of just instant gratification. Okay, so the seventh way is to be present with him when he has a rough day at work. And it seems like a no-brainer, but it's so true. Like, he probably has more rough days than good days, or maybe he doesn't, or maybe he has more rough days than what he really shares because he doesn't want to relive it. But be present with him and be open to hearing him talk about his day at work if that's what he needs. And being present for him and just holding space for him will make him feel, better, and like he can move on and have a healthy emotionally outlook on the struggles and uphill battles that he's facing. Sometimes we just need someone to talk to. So be that person for him that will make him feel valued. The eighth way is to give credit where credit is due. And I feel like so often in life, we appreciate people, just in general, not even in a marriage setting. We appreciate people and we forget or just don't even think about to tell the other person that we appreciate them. Like, really, when you think about it, when was the last time you said to your best friend, like, hey, like, thanks for everything that you do. Like, you are a solid friend. Or like a mother or a brother or anything like that. Like, sometimes we just take that stuff for granted. And I feel like it is so important, if you don't do this to your spouse, that you start doing it. Tell him you appreciate him working as hard as he does. Tell him you appreciate him for cleaning off your car or in the wintertime, or doing other things that contribute to the household. Thank him for being him. Like, at the end of the day, you married him because you love him, because, there's some type of click that you both had. So thank him for all of those little things. Give credit where credit is due. Okay, so the ninth way to really value your husband is to make God a priority. And I know this sounds counterintuitive, but trust me, this is critical, because the reality is a relationship cannot happen with God as the foundation. God is the number one. And it might mean submitting to your husband, which I know is a big ticket discussion nowadays. And unfortunately, I think a lot of people get that wrong. They don't really understand the true love and significance behind a wife submitting to their husband. And if you are interested in learning more, I'll put details below for just how it's actually meant to be received and how beautiful it is. But besides that, putting God first is number one. And that means praying together. That means going to church together. That means talking about God. Like, my husband and I, I'll ask him if he had any God moments in the day. And I think that's a great way to incorporate God as the number one position between the both of us, because we're cognizant and thinking of how God has been throughout our day, like what he's done. So doing little things like that and putting God first will have a ripple effect that will greatly impact your husband and make him feel valued. Okay, now the moment that you've been waiting for, and that is the 10th way to make your husband feel valued, and that is to engage or discuss his hobbies. Now, I'm telling you, this is so big. Like, I grew up with brothers, and with my husband, they all agree, this is one of the main things that they love when their significant other does for them. And it speaks volumes. They get into different things, whether it's playing video games or going to the range or sports, whatever it may be, that's their hobby. That's what makes them tick. And if you give them the opportunity to talk about it or do that hobby with them, they're gonna be so happy and they're gonna feel valued beyond belief. So start taking an interest or like at least listening to him when he's talking about his hobby. And it's amazing how much they light up and they get excited when they get that opportunity. So set time aside and engage in and ask questions about what he has going on with the projects or things that he likes doing, and he will definitely feel valued. But that is all I have for you. Did I miss any? Drop them in the comments if you think there's other ways that will help make a husband feel valued. But again, that's all I have. Hit that subscribe button, and I will see you next time. Bye.